Dozens of leading U.S. news organizations sending a letter to the White House this week, urging President Obama to reverse a trend of secrecy at federal agencies. Reading in part, quote, "You need look no further than your own administration for a major source of that frustration. Politically driven suppression of news and information about federal agencies. We call on you to take a stand, to stop the spin, and let the sunshine in," end quote. Tyler Harbor, Republican pollster, campaign communications expert and managing partner, Harbin Global, and Julie Roginski, former political advisor to New Jersey Senator Frank Lautenberg and a Fox News contributor. Tyler, Julie, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
All right, let's go at it right now. Tyler, what are you seeing here? 38 news organizations coming together. What's it tell you?
You know, it tells me that there's a lot more to cover up in this administration than we know. We already know that some of the IRS scandal and some of these other unconstitutional activities that the administration is now being sued for was really turned up by journalists doing their job, reporting on the news, digging into these agencies, digging into what whistleblowers or what other people on background were giving them. And so the administration, of course, they're going to lock things down. And not only is it unconstitutional, which seems to be their favorite pastime, but it's also really puts a real barrier between the people and their government.
There's a lot more in this letter, too. But, you know, you can watch O'Reilly every night. He's banging on the mainstream media because he doesn't think they're doing their job, Julie. But now you have 38 news organizations. I think there's hope in this now.
I think there's hope for the news organizations, and I get their frustration. They were frustrated during the Bush administration. They're frustrated during this one. But look, Tyler knows this full well because he works on my side of the equation, too, works for politicians. Any politician that can control their own message, whether through blogs or directly talking to voters, through direct mail, through TV, I mean, there are many platforms now that didn't exist before, would be insane to allow more media intrusion.
Certainly the effort is there to do that, okay? But the letter states on screen, we consider these restrictions a form of censorship, an attempt to control what the public is allowed to see and
They're
hear.
right. They're absolutely right. I get their frustration, and there's nothing to argue with. They're absolutely right. Obviously, politicians more and more are on lockdown. They're more and more on message. You no longer have people roaming the halls of the White House trying to figure out what's going on as you had in years past.
I'm sorry, this is more than just talking points. You know, this is more than just trying to get your message out there. This is trying to prevent information from going out there.
Of course.
This is what the letter's saying. 4 bullet points, okay, quickly. Blocking requests to talk to specific staff. That's one allegation. Excessive delays on interview requests. That's another. Officials conveying information on background. Federal agencies blackballing reporters who are critical. Tyler, that last one, I mean, that's like McCarthy stuff.
Well, and I agree with Julie. This is not necessarily a new tactic, but it's much worse than it has been in previous years. Even the White House Correspondents Association sent a similar communique to the White House previously, citing some of the same activities. Basically, the administration, there's a lot going on. They seem to be in full crisis mode. They seem to be completely locking things down. And it's understandable, but it's not constitutional.
Well, I will say this. The next president, whoever it is, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, and their staff, and Dana Perino, I'd love to hear her thoughts on this, because I will guarantee that having worked in the press as a press secretary, everybody blackballs reporters that they don't like. It's just a fact of life. You talk to your favorite reporters, you ignore the ones you don't like, who you don't think will give you a fair shake. Is that fair to the reporter? Of course not. Is it the job of the president or the job of a senator or the job of a mayor to make your life easier? Of course not either.
What happened to transparency?
You're absolutely right. There is none. There is none.
And what explains, Tyler, why it took 6 years for this to
because at the beginning of the administration, when things were going great and the president was popular and the administration had some things they could kind of toot their own horn about, you want to talk to the press. But as your presidency begins to fall apart and as you have things like what's going on at the IRS and other places that begin to occur, when you're one of the first presidents to be sued for unconstitutional activities with executive orders, you begin to really kind of lock the doors. You don't want the sunshine in because it just demonstrates how dysfunctional this administration really is.
Let me get Julie last word in here quickly.
Well, I'll say this again. Whoever the next president is, it could be the biggest Republican on the planet. They will engage in this behavior favor because more and more of the media landscape allows you to do that. You no longer have to go through the filter of the media. You can reach voters directly. Tyler, you and I both know that because we work on that side of the equation, and that's going to continue to happen, and the press is going to continue to be frustrated, and that's all there is to it, unfortunately.
Listen, they're reaching back 15, 20 years in this letter, but a lot of the criticism, frankly, is aimed at the current administration, too. So I encourage viewers to check that out. It'll be on our website today. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Bill.